This is Bude Haven on the Cornish north coast. A popular holiday resort, good sandy beaches, and as we pan round we'll see the sea. This is actually the Bristol Channel. Very big tide in the Bristol Channel. The water will come in a long way, twice a day. And then across in the distance on a clear day you can see the Welsh coast, which is about 12 miles distant. Across the water and on the hillside you can see the Parish church. This is the Parish church in Bude. It's my first time visit, so we'll explore this one together. You can see the sign here, St Michael and All Angels, Bude Haven. Well, the first thing we notice at the entrance is a sign that the church is open. Well, this is the inside of the church. Well, there is this memorial on the wall. This one is to Alfred St Hill Gibbons, Lieutenant Colonel, 13th Battalion, King's Liverpool Regiment, an African explorer who died of wounds received when leading his men into action at the Battle of the Somme, 16th of July 1916. He was 58 years. This one to Charles Reginald Scott Elliott, Lieutenant Colonel in the Madras Pioneers Indian Army, 1948, aged 75. And then his wife Elizabeth, who died in Bude also, and daughter Elizabeth Noel. This too is high on the wall. This is James Yeo, who died in 1923, aged 78. For 57 years, a member of the choir of this church, and for 70 years, a chorister in the Stratton Deanery. So he was 8 years old, it appears, when he commenced as a chorister, and was a chorister all his life. This one to Edward Shearm, formerly Master in Chancery, who died in 1920. And this one in ceramic. It has an inscription at the base. In grateful memory of James Arthur, 44 years the schoolmaster of Bude Haven, Church of England schools, and he died in 1905. And at the back of the church is this very large memorial. John Simons Avery, 33 years vicar of this church. He was born in 1803 and died in 1876. That was my look around the inside of the church. The graveyard has been allowed to develop as a nature reserve. They haven't cut the grasses or the wildflowers. This one attracted me with the interesting design. William Alfred Johnson, 1897, aged 32 years. And beneath that, his beloved sister, Mary Elizabeth Pearden, 1900, and she too was 32 years. Very attractive memorial stone. This one to Willie, dearly beloved son of William and Jessie Marshall, 1901, aged 19 years. This one to Fanny, the beloved wife of William Cann. She died 1892, aged 58 years, and beneath that is William Cann. Back a little bit here, this is very clear to read. Elizabeth Hockin, the widow of Captain Henry Hockin of the Royal Navy, late of Hartland Quay, that's just a little bit further along the coast from here, 1872, aged 75. Just to the side of the path here is a group of stones, and the surname is Bickle. Mary, the wife of Thomas Bickle, and then Thomas Bickle, and I can't get the surname of the one behind that. And then just beside the path, in the long grass here, are two war graves, war memorials. We have a look at this one, if you can get between the long grass. B.J. Leader, pilot, Royal Air Force, 1942, aged 28. And the one behind it is actually facing in the other direction. So we'll work our way around. And we can read that it's to A.H. Batten, Royal Engineers, 1946, age 37. So we're close to the path and close to the church. Up to the right of the path here, and amongst all the wildflowers, is this ornamental stone with the angel and wings, and now the ivy growing up it. Quite impossible to actually get the inscription without cutting back the vegetation, but a very nice stone. To the right of the path, somebody caring for this, or these graves, has been busy clearing the grass away. The stone at the top is Michael Thomas Bell, 1992, age 64. It kind of stands out when everything else has been allowed to go back to nature. See, everywhere you look there are stones in this long grass and amongst the wildflowers. Really beautiful spot. Well, I'm up behind the church now, and this clock is busy striking the hour. That'll be 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm working my way up at the back of the churchyard now. There's a stone right beside the path here. Ellen Mason, 1917, age 59, and Robert, her husband, in 1928. And just across there is an unusual one. Design stands out. We'll try and reach that. In fact, it's rather overgrown at the base, and I'm not going to be able to get the inscription, but an unusual stone standing out in the graveyard. And close by is this one. This is a war grave. William Thomas, Willie, dearly beloved son of John Edward and Tryphena Marshall of Lundstone. He died at the Royal Naval Hospital in Plymouth, That's 50, 60 miles south of here, aged 19 in 1916. And we can see at the bottom there the little wooden cross put here once a year, renewed by the Royal British Legion on Remembrance Sunday. So that's a memorial to Willie. I'm continuing my walk up the top end of the churchyard. There are so many stones to reach. Let's wander down this way, careful with my feet. This one here, James Pierce and Betsy. And then if we go behind, we see some very highly decorated stones. The flowers carved into this. We've got Elizabeth Edwards. And there's a little cross between, which is almost certainly a child's grave. We go to this one with again the flowers carved into the top of the stone. And this is Charlotte, the lovely wife of Alfred Barrett, 1915, aged 54 years. Moving further in, pair of stones over here to the Tickles. A little earlier we saw the Bickles. These are the Tickles, James Tickle and Eliza Tickle. There's a big heavy round topped stone there, but I'm not going to get the inscription off that. This one beside the path, Captain Henry Thomas of Tenby. Now that's across the Bristol Channel in South Wales. Across the water it's only about 12 miles. Master of the Smack Enterprise, who was drowned here at Bude, March the 29th, 1966, aged 48. And close by, almost under the hedge, here lie deposited the remains of 13 seamen, a portion of the crew of the Ben Coolen, which was wrecked at the entrance of this harbour. And the ivy is hiding the date down there. Maybe I can go in and just move that ivy. It's 1869, and a very colourful snail just below it. And is this the story of a family feud? Charles Treby Barrett, loving husband of Jean and dearly beloved father of Nestor, and the second name has been deeply gouged out of the stone. About a centimetre deep gouge to remove the second name. Only son of Percy and Anne Barrett, 1916 to 1972. So something going on there. If it was just pure vandalism, then other areas of the stone would be damaged, but somebody has deliberately removed the second name, and not very well. This one to the memory of Thomas Toms, whose parents didn't have much imagination. Presumably he was later on known as Tom Toms. Died 1865, aged 49. And beneath that is Jane, his wife. There are just so many stones in this churchyard, and most of them are fairly straightforward to read. The inscriptions have been very well preserved. Like this pair. This one is Charles Barrett of Queen Street, Bude, 1914, and then his wife. And then across here to the right, John Cardew of Falcon Terrace, Bude, 1909, aged 60. But those inscriptions are just so clear cut, so easy to read. More than 100 years old and as good as the day they were made. This one to James Whitfield, 1894, and also his wife. But the interesting to me was the clasped hands at the top here. And if you look at them, you'll see that they're depicted, one as the female hand with the frilly cuff on the left, and one with a decorative but more male cuff. And you've got the large hand from the male, and the female hand is placed within it. Usually when you see the pair of hands, they are depicted of one of each, one male, one female. Well, up in this top corner, which is rather overgrown, there are 2 war graves, and I will do my best to reach those. This one is to T.J. Lewis, a steward, SS, can't quite get that, 1948-28. And then further back still, I'm hoping there's no holes I'm going to fall down here, because I'm having to feel my way through the undergrowth. And here's an anonymous one. This is a sailor of the Second World War, Merchant Navy, 1941. So what we have here is just a body washed up on the coast, or rescued from the sea, but he had no papers with him, so no one knows exactly who he is. Rather like the famous grave of the unknown soldier in Westminster Abbey. And I've fought my way through the undergrowth to this one, Midshipman H.C.R. Powell, Royal Naval Reserve, HMS Registan, 1941, aged just 18 years. And fighting my way back through the undergrowth, here's another one to another Thomas Toms, Master Mariner of this place, 1865, aged 45. And there is just so much to see. On the left we've got John Parkin Cater, 1872, aged 35. We've got Sarah Selina, the wife of W.H. Box. He was only 34. If I move here to the right, we've got Mary Dennis, the wife of Reverend E.V. Horton, the congregational minister. And then tucked down in the corner here is another war grave. And this one is quite badly worn. This one is for 3 sailors of the Second World War, Merchant Navy, that were washed ashore or found in December 1940. So 3 more anonymous sailors. Nobody knows their names. Well, just close to the church is the extension graveyard. Clearly the main churchyard is now full, and this is where the more modern graves, more recent graves are now being put. We'll have a little walk around here and pick out a few. Now immediately on my left are all the memorials for the people who were cremated. Then we'll go down the central path. You can see some graves on my left, 1978. These are 77. I'll move across to this side. This one is to Captain Alfred Petherick, who had the Military Cross. He died in 1959, aged 68 years. Carry on down the central path. On the left is Violet Mary Elvin, 1978. Ellen Downing, Over the back there, Alice May Marshall 72. A very bright gold painted one here, recently redone I suspect. Maybe an additional burial in the same grave. Edward Percival Stokes, 1971, age 76. And a more traditional one alongside, Edmund Sargent, 1971. Carry on going in. John Thomas Petherick, 1971. One over here, looks like a fireplace, but it's different. Nice to see something different. And over here has been relettered, so it's easy to read. Henry Carden Brevet. And this one with international connections, in memory of Maud Ann Adams, and then Maudie and Adolfo Lopez of San Diego, California. And beneath that we've got Charles and Sarah. A little bit of building work in the house nearby. You can hear the knocking in the background perhaps. So that's my visit to the Parish Church or Bude Haven and the close by Extension Cemetery. Very picturesque spot. If you come down to Bude, you must come and spend a little time in this churchyard. It's well worth coming. Well, I'm going to leave Bude Haven now. It's blowing a bit up here on the cliffs, but a very beautiful spot. I hope you enjoyed the visit to the churchyard. Till the next time.